everyone. This is criminal profiler Pat Brown, and this is Hangout number 31, which is amazing. I just can't believe it's been so many weeks, because I'm doing this like every week. So we're talking about more than half a year I've been doing the Hangouts. And hey, Annie, how are you? You're here. Annie's here. Lisa's here. I'm not going to do the blanket one. Lisa said, do the blanket. Hello. So let's see, we got Lisa, Carrie's here, and Anne's here, and Martin's here, and now I've probably missed somebody. Now I'm going to feel bad. See, it is a problem when you don't say the blanket. Hello. Oh, thank you, Lisa, for saying you can see and hear me. Okay, there's theoretical good news. Verizon came out today and has replaced our router with what is supposed to be 10 times the strength, especially for streaming. So I don't know if I believe it, but let's find out whether it's actually going to be the difference between whatever was happening before and now maybe I'll have streaming without glitches and fuzziness and just disappearing. But I'm not getting my hopes up. Not yet. But I'm glad you can see me today, so that's really good. This is Hangout 31, as I said. If you'd like to participate, you'll be clicking down below on Patreon and join there. And this is my Patreon community for all the live shows, the live case shows, the live Hangouts, and the live phone ones, which you just started last week. So we have a great community, nice people, and so join Patreon below. And if you are new also, just subscribe to the channel and check out all my different videos. Now, what am I going to talk about tonight? All kinds of interesting things. And I wanted to start with this. This happens to me every once in a while, shall I say. And it always drives me nuts, not because of the insult toward me, but because of the concept. I just did a video, and it was called, I don't remember what I called it. Basically, old white lady giving a commentary on all the future GNUs. And you wonder, what the heck is she talking about? Well, GNU was a rapper in my neck of the woods. He's from Prince George's County, Maryland, which is where I live. He was just down the street from me, maybe 15 minutes at the most, an up-and-coming rapper, and he got shot down a couple days ago, shot in the back. And what my message says, and you can go and look at the whole message, but just that, here was a guy who had some talent. He hadn't done well in life until he found this talent. He had quit school, he'd been in trouble with the criminal justice system, committed some crimes, but now he'd found this talent, and he was developing a new style of rap called whisper rap. And he was kind of cool in that, and I went and listened to his music, and I'm not a big rap person, but I do like some rap. And the first thing I noticed was that his videos all included weapons, and talks about homicide and killing and annihilating enemies and drugs. And I'm thinking, okay, so here you've discovered this great talent, but what you're doing is giving poison out to the community, because you're telling the young people who are out there that this is the life to lead. And and also you played with fire, you died by it too. So you got shot down, and now you're dead at the age of 24. And my purpose of saying this is because I want young people who have opportunities, like being rappers, to give out positive messages to their community and to the young people following them. In other words, if it's not good for your community, why are you putting that information out there? Why are you giving them poison? Just like selling drugs, it's poison. If you're taking drugs and encouraging young people to take drugs, you're encouraging them to do poison. And if you're talking about guns and violence and killing people, you're giving poison to your community. So here you are, you have finally a chance. He was making money. He was getting super popular, and he could have been a positive influence on the community. But instead, he put out music that had all kinds of negative messages, and somebody shut him down, as has been happening with many rappers. So this guy comes in to my YouTube comments, and he starts out, I love this statement they always make. Things like this. I thought you would be a better person, Pat. It's like, okay, start with just, trying to humiliate me, and chastise me. I thought you were a better person. I guess not, dude. Guess not. I guess I'm just me. He said, because I was blaming the victim. That here I was, the poor boy had been shot down in the street. Shot down, only 24 years old. He's still, barely an adult, and shot down in the street. And I'm blaming the victim because I'm saying you're the one who caused your own death. You're putting out bad messages, and you're still involved with criminal people, and you're wearing a whole really expensive stuff around your neck, and you're making enemies. So I don't know if you were shot down because somebody just wanted what you were wearing, your jewels, as your mother said, or whether they shot you down and took your trophy. Their trophy now. So I'm not blaming the victim. I'm doing a thing called pointing out your victim risk level, and pointing out how you become a victim, and pointing out that your behavior does indeed sometimes cause you to become a victim. For example, let's say your secretary. Oh, I think they're administrative assistants these days. You can't say secretary anymore unless you're the secretary of, the treasury. Okay, so you're an administrative assistant in an office, and you start an affair with your boss, and your boss is a married man, and he finally dumps his wife, if you really get lucky, and he marries you, and then he cheats on you. And usually what everybody says is, you didn't see that coming? If he's willing to cheat on his wife with you, he's willing to cheat on you with somebody else. You have already, by your own behavior, you've made yourself a victim. And you've encouraged bad behavior because you didn't have a problem with it when the boss was in bed with you. So you said to him, I'm okay with that stuff. Prostitution, for example. And a girl gets involved in prostitution, and she's out and about, and she's on the streets, or she's got her stuff on, Craigslist or wherever, Facebook, and she's getting clients, and she's going to clients' homes, or she's picking them up on the streets. She's going off with strangers, which is very, very risky behavior because a lot of prostitutes get killed that way. And they may call themselves escorts, they may call themselves masseuses, or whatever they want to call themselves, but they're prostituting, and it's a dangerous profession. Now, if you're out there and you're bringing girls in, you're telling other young women, hey, come on and join me. You can make a lot of money. Well, you're promoting poison. You're promoting poison to other girls, and you're putting them in dangerous situations. And then one day you get knocked off by a John, some serial killer. And I point out, hey, you were involved in dangerous behavior, and you were involving other girls in dangerous behavior. You're promoting a very negative lifestyle. And you ended up dead because of your negative lifestyle. And then somebody rolls along and says, Pat, you're just blaming the victim. I thought better of you. Oh, I get so frustrated because we have to take responsibility for our lives. And we're supposed to be good citizens. And when we become adults, whatever our behaviors are can get us into all kinds of good situations or bad situations. And I'm just a little tired of people saying, oh, we're not supposed to point this out. That anybody who gets killed, anybody who gets, anything happens to them, they're always 100% a victim and not responsible for any of their own behaviors. Now, sometimes that's absolutely true. Even for a prostitute, for example. Let's say a prostitute she's gone about her jobs. But one evening, she's just walking down the street at 8 p.m. to go to Safeway to get some food. And a serial killer jumps out of the bushes and kills her. In that case, she has zero responsibility for what happened. She is doing a normal citizen's behavior in spite of the rest of her life. In that moment, she was doing nothing that put her in danger, except for human behavior of having to live to go get groceries. So, yes, there are times that even person who's in, Gunu, the rapper, he could, let's say he was in a gas station, and somebody came in and robbed the gas station and shot Gunu. Then he'd just be a victim, just a plain victim. But I'm going to say the way he went down, it had a lot to do with his lifestyle and his contacts and the people he was hanging with and who he was pissing off being, you know, people asked if he was in a gang, and I'm like, it's not really that they're in gangs. It's not like the Crips and the Bloods. It's like sometimes you've got these little neighborhood like pockets of guys, and you're kind of with this group or you're with that group. That's kind of what happens in our area. But you know, they talked about killing off their adversaries. They did with automatic weapons, and they showed them. You know, I guess somebody took their advice and came back at them. So, you know, I'm going to keep telling the truth. So, you know, guy, you want to chastise me? Block. You know, I can live with it. Oh, hi, Christine, you're here. Yes, you're late, but it's okay. I only showed up because I have to do the show on time, right? I'm kidding. Oh, no, see, I got clothing problems. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. I even put these little sticky things in here, but I messed with them, so now I screwed them up. Now, wardrobe issues. Okay, now I want to go on to, let's see which one I want to do first. Oh, I got to just do this one, because I saw this one today. This is a Dear Abby. Dear Abby, I'm concerned for my sister and her 3 daughters. She has been married to Rick for 10 years. After she recently discovered he has inappropriate feelings toward the children, she kicked him out of their home. Rick has gotten counseling and therapy and tells her it's no longer an issue. Oh, dang, that's a great therapist. No, you can't cure pedophiles. If he's got sexual feelings toward his own daughters, he's not curable. And how did you find out? Don't you wonder how she found out? What did he do? Did she find him in action with the girls? Did she find like she went on the computer one day and she saw like 10,000 pictures of little girls being sexually assaulted? Did he lay in bed with her one day and say, honey, I wish you were only 4? What got her to know about this? But this isn't discussed. But anyway, he got therapy, and he says he's better. She thinks he'll get better after more intense therapy. Sure, okay. If the therapist is telling her that, the therapist needs to lose her license or his license. She'll be gone. I'm so sick of the concept that a child, essentially a sexual predator, you know, because even if the thoughts are the predator and you haven't moved your little body behind them yet, you're looking at a child in a criminal way, fantasizing about that. You're unsafe, period. Just that's the end of discussion. And no therapy is going to cure you. And any therapist who thinks they can cure a person like that ought to lose their license. Let's see. So, guess what? My sister, CPS got involved, so he isn't allowed to be alone with his daughters. Well, good for you, CPS. My sister allowed him back in the home with the understanding he wouldn't be alone with the girls. Does anybody see a slight problem with that? Anybody see a problem with that? It's okay for him to be in the home as long as he's not alone with the girls. What problem do you see? Anybody a good therapist out there? What little problem could it possibly be? I'm not getting any answers, so I'm going to have to answer for you. All right, 3 little girls, 1 wife. Oh, there we go, Annie. Thank you. Does she ever leave the house? Yeah, I mean, literally, she would, every time she leaves the house, she would have to take the 3 children with her, or she would have to bring someone in to monitor the children. That's the first one. Martin says, I foresee him being alone with the girls. You think? There's 3 of them. So even if mommy's in the house, it doesn't take more than 5 minutes. So she's with 2 of the girls, and one of the little girls goes out here. He goes out back to the play set with her. He's alone with the little girl. Oh, there we go. Lisa says he could go into their rooms and touch their belongings. Well, he could. That's not them. But I'm going to guess the little girls are going to be in their belongings. That's where the problem lies. So yeah, 24 hours a day. Is the woman going to sleep? Is she going to sleep? Because, you know, I'm going to say that she's not going to be able to sleep well enough that if that man gets up in the night and she just doesn't know he got up because she slept through when he snuck out of the bed, he can be any one of those little girls' bedrooms. That is the most nonsensical thing. Oh, it's okay for him being in the house as long as he's not alone with the girls. How ridiculous. She now realizes he still has a problem. Yeah, and is always going to. And she's considering divorce to keep them safe. Those children should never be around him alone ever again in their lives. It's that simple. So if it's true that he has even admitted that he has this problem, he should only be with the girls in a completely managed situation. They should never be at a home with him. They should never be in the home with him. They should be perhaps in a restaurant. They can go, we're going to see Daddy at the restaurant. We're going to see Daddy at the social worker's office. We're going to see Daddy wherever somebody can absolutely watch his little butt 100% of the time. And you simply have to tell your child, your dad has some problems, he can't be alone. He can't be alone because he's not responsible for some of his behaviors. You just tell them that and you leave it alone. And you let them see him in only absolutely safe situations, if at all. So, but you know, the therapist saying, oh yeah, a little more therapy. And the wife going, oh yeah, a little more therapy. And oh, as long as I'm around. Lady, you can't control that. K-Rob, my sister knows a woman who has 5 daughters. Their stepdad molested them. He went to prison. When he got out, guess where he lived? With the same woman and her girls. I hated that. She should be immediately charged with child abuse. Absolutely immediately charged with child abuse. Because she is letting a predator right back into the home with the children. The children should be removed from the home, from her, from him, removed. Amazing, though. Amazing. Amazing. I have no sympathy for perverts or pedophiles or the women who allow them into their homes around their children. I'm in total agreement with you. It's just unacceptable. There's no excuse for it, period. Just no excuse. And for a woman who would allow anybody to get near her children that is harmful to them, they should be brought up on the same charges. Because aiding and abetting a pedophile to sexually assault your children, you should be in prison for the next 10, 20 years of your damn life. I'm pretty hostile about that. Yeah. So I thought that was an interesting, just unbelievable that, and let me see what the answer was. As long as your sister's children are minors, their mothers must protect them. That's true. And includes ensuring they're not alone with their father. Also true. That's good. Their safety must be paramount. She doesn't appear to realize how difficult pedophilia is to treat. That's incorrect. She doesn't realize that pedophilia can't be treated. Can't. And Abby should know that. Can't be treated. That's why it's important for her to talk with a mental health professional. Oh, the mental health professional who was treating him and thought she could treat him? No. And CPS. CPS, if they're smart enough to know, you can't treat them either. Her first allegiance must be to her vulnerable girls. Absolutely. I don't care who that dude is. Get him out of there. Who may need therapy themselves at this point. Yeah, because she says he has feelings to the girls. I'm going to say probably things went a lot further than that. Like maybe she caught him with the girls, or the girls have come to her and said, Daddy did this. I'm going to say there's a lot more to that story, but therapy doesn't work. So that people have to get rid of that concept. Now, on that note, I came across this story and I'm like, this is fascinating in 2 ways. One is I've talked about Munchausen syndrome. Since we have the Sherry Papini story coming to a theoretical end, right? Because Sherry Papini at this point has, she's been arrested and they're charging her with a hoax. So my belief is she's a psychopath who exhibits Munchausen syndrome, which is claiming people hurt you. Okay? Claiming people hurt you. She had once upon a time in her life, and maybe more than once, claimed that her parents hurt her, other people hurt her, so she's made these claims before. But the thing I don't know about, and I'm very curious about, is Did she do anything to her children? And people will go, oh, no, she just did things to herself. Do we know that? Because we know her husband is very protective. He's like, my wife is the best mother ever. Okay, the guy's adult. He supports her through all kinds of stuff. Has she done anything to the children? Or has she claimed things were wrong with the children, like take them to the doctor and say they had sicknesses that they didn't have? That's what a lot of Munchausen syndrome by proxy can be. You can either hurt your child, kill your child to get attention, or you can claim your child has illnesses and take them to the doctor. And a lot of times the doctors will go for it and give that child medicines and even surgeries for things they don't have. It's a horrific, horrific, cruel abuse of children. And the point being, if you have one, can you have the other? If you're Munchausen syndrome, can you also be Munchausen syndrome by proxy? And I think this is very interesting because I keep trying to point out Munchausen syndrome and Munchausen syndrome by proxy aren't diseases. They're not psychological conditions. They're behaviors. You're a psychopath who behaves in this manner, hurting yourself or claiming somebody's hurting you, Munchausen's, or hurting your children or claiming your children are ill, Munchausen syndrome by proxy. It's a behavior of psychopathy to get attention. And if you end up killing your children one after the other, then you're a serial killer, because that's what you are. You're a psychopathic serial killer who used your children as victims. So that's how it really works. And so this woman, her name is Christine Falling, or Falling, I'm not sure how that's pronounced, but a fascinating story, and it really points out, A, that yes, you can be both, and B, my God, does hardly anybody recognize. It's amazing how society doesn't get it with women. I used to interpret for a girl, she was a lady, but she was a young woman, and she was such a sweet looking thing. And she had Munchausen syndrome and Munchausen syndrome by proxy, both of them. She exhibited both. She was a total psychopath. But when she did the Munchausen syndrome thing, she used to come into the emergency room, and she used to claim these things were wrong. And there were things like this. She'd come, my stomach's really hurting. I haven't been able to go to the bathroom for days. I don't know. I don't know. I'm so much pain. And they give her a CAT scan or whatever they did, and whatever claim she made. And then they find nothing, and they may give her some, like, okay, we're going to give you some, whatever, pain reliever or something, maybe you're clogged up, or give you something for that. And then they made this horrible mistake every time. When she was leaving, the nurse would then read out this piece of paper, come back to the emergency room if, and I'm like, oh God, don't give her a list of things. And they go, if the pain gets worse, if you have bleeding, if you are dizzy, and they give this list. And I'm like, I'll give it 2 days. She's going to be back with something on that list. And 2 days later, she'd show up at the emergency room with, I've been really dizzy and I've been bleeding. So they don't understand the whole methodology of this manipulation done by these psychopathic folk who are called Munchausen syndrome or Munchausen syndrome by proxy. Well, here is an incredible example that I ran into. I'm like, wow. Okay, so anyway, her name is Christine Falling. I'm not sure if that's actually the name, but wait a minute. She was, let's see, okay, wait a minute, where's the beginning of this? Hold on a second. I think she married the Falling, okay. She was born, the name that she was born, Slaughter. I mean, wow, is that like a bad omen? So her name being born is Christine Slaughter, and she did do that. She is an American serial killer, so she slaughtered, all right. Now listen to this, it's just unbelievable. She was the youngest child in an unusual family. Thomas, her father, was 65 years old at the time of her birth, and her mother, Anne, was age 16. Yeah, still a minor. Okay, there you see already like a real disaster brewing. Family was below the poverty line, and she did not necessarily get early childhood support. Well, maybe because she just wasn't being cared for. Anyway, because of this, she was considered mentally challenged. Okay, that they use that a lot when you just kind of don't, it used to be called slow, and that usually just meant you weren't getting educated. You didn't have anybody reading to you. You weren't playing games. You didn't have, whatever reasons, just weren't getting a lot of input. Okay. Also, it said she also suffered from epilepsy. Maybe not. Maybe her mommy was Munchausen syndrome. But anyway, when her parents could no longer afford to support her, and also because of ongoing arguments between them, Christine spent some of her childhood and youth in various orphanages. In other words, she probably was psychopathic from a very young age, and in spite of a crappy family, probably even her crappy family couldn't stand her, her behavior. So they just chucked her, She compensated, I love this word, compensated for her insecurities and pent-up anger by killing small animals. Wait a minute. Who wrote this? Compensated. Okay, I'm having a bad time. Let me go kill small animals. It's just compensating for my struggles. It's called the serial killer. It's part of that triad they talk about, the McDonald triad. There's 3 things: killing animals, setting fires, and wetting bed. These are 3 things a small child can do to piss you off, that they have the power to do and don't have to leave home or have a car. Starts out with, urinating in the bed. Of course, a lot of children just do that anyway, but hey, if you really want to tick off ma or pa, that's one thing, just to annoy them. And you can do it very simply. That's your weapon. Urine is your weapon. And then killing animals, hamsters, gerbils, the cat next door. They're accessible. And you can kill them easily, and that gives you a big thrill. And then setting fires is usually like the shed, your neighbor's shed, preferably, because your stuff isn't in it. Something you can do very simply with a little bit of matches and a little tinder. So that's fun. So these are things you get power and control. And so a lot of the budding serial killers, the psychopaths, this is something they can do. Apparently she did that to compensate. Okay. It's bad to laugh through an entire Wikipedia article, but it's just amazing. Especially domestic cats. I didn't even I haven't read this whole thing yet. So there you go. Especially domestic cats, because they're available at an early age. Oh, wait a minute. Oh my goodness. I may have to do a whole show on this woman. In order to test their 9 lives. Oh my God. As she later justified her actions, she often caused the animals to fall from heights. She chucked the cats off of whatever she could chuck them off of. Oh my God, to test their 9 lives. Okay, she's already a lying dog. She's a pathological liar. She's not testing anything. She just wants to see them die. That's where you come down to. Okay, so now, in September of 1977, the 14-year-old Christine was forced by her parents to marry a 20-year-old man named, and nobody should marry a man named Goober, but his name was Goober Falling. Oh my God. But the marriage, which resulted in almost daily quarrels and altercations, ended in divorce after only 6 weeks. I'm going to say he had more trouble with her than she with him, After that, she had multiple hypochondriac-like episodes. Hypochondriac, in other words, she's lying. She's probably not a hypochondriac. She's just saying, this is what, I have this, I have headaches, I have, I can't breathe. Not hypochondria, Munchausen's. Okay. In the next 2 years, she was to be hospitalized 50 times. But doctors were unable to find any treatable conditions because it's Munchausen's, because she's a psychopath. Doctors don't get any training in this manipulation. They don't. So these Munchausen's people, these psychopaths, come into the hospital and into the doctors and make these claims, and they never catch on to, that girl's lying to me. She's lying. She keeps doing this over and over again. She's a liar. They don't catch on. So anyway, they couldn't find any treatable conditions. How about that? She suffered from hallucinations, complained of red dots that appear before her eyes, and menstrual bleeding at irregular levels. At the age of 16, she was diagnosed as incapacitated on medical instructions. In order to make money, it just gets worse and worse. Falling began working as a babysitter for neighbors and friends. A babysitter for neighbors and friends. You remember the woman who wanted to have her husband come back to her 3 girls and hang out with them even though he's a pedophile and wants to have sex with them? Neighbors and friends. These aren't people who have no clue who this girl is. They have lots of clues who this girl is. And yet, this unstable, even if you don't know about her throwing the cats, and you don't know about her 50 times she went to the hospital, you got to know the girl ain't right. And you are going to leave your children with her. What could go wrong? All right. On February 25th, 1980, 2-year-old Cassidy Johnson was sent to the doctor's office in Blountstown, Florida. She was diagnosed with encephalitis. And on February 28th, Cassidy died. An autopsy would list the cause of death as blunt force trauma to the skull. Christine Falling, who had been babysitting for her, said that Cassidy had passed out and fallen out of her crib, as all babies tend to do. The attending physician, did not believe Falling. Thank you, attending physician, and recommended in a note to police to check out Christine. However, the note was lost and the case was closed. Oh, Lord God. Christine says. And how many cats did she do away with? And babysit. Yeah. Well, if the cats have 9 lives, I'm going to say it was 9 cats, and each one of them had just one. Yes, now she's babysitting 1 dead kid. And, okay, so now, all right. Shortly after the death of Cassidy Johnson, Falling moved to Lakeland, Florida. 2 months later, in the early summer of 1980, 4-year-old Jeffrey Davis died while under her supervision. Now, I always wonder, when you're going to have somebody babysit your kids, it's very often people don't actually check out references, and this is a real shame. Of course, you got to be sure the references you're checking out aren't the ones that the girl gave you, like, call Mrs. Smith, which is really her friend Candy, Oh, she's great. Gotta be careful. Anyway, but it's your kid. So anyway, 4-year-old Jeffrey Davis died while under her supervision. The autopsy pointed to myocarditis, a heart condition which is rarely fatal, as the cause of death. 3 days later, his funeral took place, and Falling was asked to oversee, I tell you, it just gets worse and worse, Jeffrey's cousin. Oh my God. He died a few hours later. The doctor diagnosing a viral infection. Doctors also noted the virus might have caused the death of Jeffrey as well. Now she's up to 3 kids. 2 in the same family, for God's sakes. All right, so now, in July of 1981, this is now a year later, she leaves Lakeland and returns to her hometown of Perry in northern Florida, as few families wanted to entrust their children to her care. You think? She began working as a nursing assistant, housekeeper for seniors. 77-year-old William Swindle died in his kitchen on the same day that Falling had started caring for him. All right. But, again, no charges. In the fall of the same year, the daughter of Christine's half-sister, 8-month-old Jennifer Daniels, died. While Christine's half-sister had gone to the supermarket, she had left her daughter with Christine for a few moments in the car. See, when you have a psychopathic sister, you don't leave your children with her, even for 1 second. Hey, lady with the 3 girls, you don't leave that man with their daddy with them for 1 second. You don't. So now she left the daughter in the car with her, during which time the girl stopped breathing. Doctors suspected sudden infant death syndrome as the cause of death. Number 5. That's 5. The 5 people she's killed already. All right. The turning point of the enigmatic death streak. The turning point is, it's amazing how many doctors do not understand what's going on, and they don't want to accuse a person of killing a child, so they don't. And so they keep going on killing. All right. So the turning point was the death of 10-week-old Travis Coleman, who died on July 2nd, 1982, while Christine was taking care of him in Blountstown. So somebody else, again, every kid is dying around her, so but just watch my kid. 10 weeks old. At the autopsy, the doctors found internal injuries that could only have been caused by suffocation. When the police contacted Falling, she confessed to murdering 3 of the children because she had heard voices telling her, kill the baby. Sure. Okay. She had suffocated the children with pillows and blankets. Christine Falling was sentenced to life imprisonment in December 1982, and her confession prevented her from getting the death penalty. Oh, wow. Yay. Okay. So she killed 6 at least. After serving 25 years in prison, Falling was eligible for parole. Her application for parole was rejected by the Parole Review Board in November 2017, thank God. And no one supporting Falling attended her parole hearing. Why does anybody support Falling? I wouldn't be surprised, I guess she didn't get a defense team. One of those lawyers who's going to not prove that every child she ever took care of and the old dude were just, not her fault. She will be given another hearing in 7 years. Falling is imprisoned at Homestead Correctional Institution in Homestead, Florida. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. There we go. Let the punishment fit the crime, throw her into the tiger enclosure. Maybe one life of, a few lives of those cats. Take care of her, yeah. Unbelievable. And she seconds that. Yeah, it was a catastrophe. Oh, Annie. Always Annie. Annie always has the good ones. A catastrophe. Yes, it was. Yeah, but in a very serious note, though, people do not understand Munchausen syndrome by proxy. It is simply manipulation by a psychopath to gain attention one way or the other. So here's a woman who started out with Munchausen's. She was claiming she had all these conditions she didn't have. That's Munchausen's. And then she went on to killing children. That's Munchausen syndrome by proxy. And it may be that, she got really annoyed with those damn doctors because they never told her she had anything. 50 times, 50 times you still don't believe anything I say. Nothing's happening that's worthwhile here. And so she upped the game. And the woman I was talking about, the hospital who kept coming in with conditions, she upped the game too. And she was both Munchausen's and Munchausen syndrome. So don't ever believe that if you have one, you can't, it's not something you have. If you have one behavior, you can have the other behavior. You can change up when it more suits you. So I want to know about Sherry Papini. Did she ever do anything to the children? Were the children ever taken to the doctor over and over again because she claimed something was wrong with them? Does she claim children have some kind of disorders that they don't have? I'd be curious to know, because all we know is that she's the most wonderful mother in the world, and I don't buy it. I do not buy it. All right, that I just thought was fascinating. All right, so now let's go on to this story. Unbelievable. You just keep wondering how these things happen, and over again, and it's just like it never stops. Okay, this guy's name is Jason Brown. He's a dog killer. He's now eligible for parole due to a nonviolent reclassification. What? Did he nonviolently kill the doggies? Okay, let's see here. After receiving a 28-year sentence in 2015 for dismembering dogs bought off of Craigslist in the Reno area, Jason Brown did not have a chance at release from prison until 2025. Until it was noticed his crime should have been classified as nonviolent. What? Okay. Confusion arose when some offenders in the Nevada Department of Corrections computer system were mistakenly classified as violent. Animals are treated as personal property under Nevada law, adding that a designation of violence according to the law can only be made when the victim is human. Reclassifying Brown from a violent to a nonviolent offender means that credits, such as good behavior in prison, are applied, causing Brown to become eligible for parole as of 2019. I want to know what did he do to the doggies? I want to find out. Okay, wait a minute. The DA said this case is the worst animal cruelty torture case we've ever seen in Washoe County and possibly in the state of Nevada. Okay, I want to see what the heck he did. Oh, that's interesting. Hold on a second. They have this Nevada Voters for Animals started a campaign to oppose his release. He's absolutely the worst animal abuser in Nevada history, said Greason, who helped push Cooney's law through the Nevada legislature. The law was named after the dog who was killed by Raymond Rios with a box cutter. Rios was charged with a misdemeanor, and then the new law made animal abuse a felony. Okay. So what did Brown do? Oh, that's lovely. Okay. Just before we think Brown's not that bad a character, so maybe he does. He's only 24 years old. Oh, he looks like a piece of garbage. Awesome. He does. Oh, come on now. I'm gonna have to do one of these. Put the dude in front of the camera. Don't leave your dogs with that dude. Oh my God! Don't sell them. So I guess these people thought they were getting a home for their doggy. Now, before you think that was something weird that happened, that he wasn't that bad, the judge who handed down the long sentence had to watch videos of the dogs being cut up in 2 different motel and hotel rooms while the jury listened to the sounds of hacking and cries from the animals. So we're not talking about like the animals were shot quickly and then he cut them up for amusement. He was cutting up the animals while they were alive. This guy is a dangerous, dangerous psychopath. And this is, again, killing of animals. The enjoyment of killing animals and watching them die. In this case, it's even worse. He's a sadist on top of it. He wants to watch them suffer and die. That he goes on to killing human beings would not be surprising. So how are they going to classify this dude as nonviolent? That's absolutely outrageous. Yeah, that is just unbelievable. I don't care what you're killing. If you're killing it in a way that you are sadistically doing it on purpose to watch it suffer, then you're a sadist and you are doing a violent act. Even if it's an animal, I know that people sometimes think that, let's say it's an animal that's less loved by human beings, like a rodent, for example, rats. I've seen some things, and I'm a rat lover. Sorry, I've had rats as pets. They're very sweet animals. They're very intelligent. They're fun. They like to hang out with you. I mean, they're good pets. And I understand that in a situation where you're overrun by rats, and the problem with a home where you can't solve the problem, people put up rat traps and stuff. I get it. It becomes, either them or me type of thing. But I have seen ads for these rat traps, which absolutely delight in showing you how the rat dies. Just like, isn't this the coolest thing? Look at this. And they show the suffering of the little animal. And I'm like, I don't care if you don't like the animal. Why are you enjoying the suffering of that animal dying? And I think the people that do that have a sadistic streak and a violent streak in them, regardless of what the animal is. So, in theory, when people even hunt, I'm not a big fond person of hunting, but the theory behind a good hunter is that when they kill the animal, they do it as quickly and so quickly that the animal doesn't realize what hit it, and therefore it doesn't suffer. And so if a person enjoys the animal suffering and they enjoy doing things to it that are violent to watch it suffer, I would say they're a dangerous kind of human being. Yes, that is exactly what I think. He's violent, he's not safe for society. But he's going to be out. He's going to be out. When they pick him up for serial homicide, people are going to go, we never thought he was that kind of guy. Yeah, we did. Okay, all right. Let's change to the dentist. I thought this was a really interesting one. I'm not big. I'm kind of dentist shy. I am. I just have never been. We were talking about funny names, and Carrie, wasn't your funny name? Remember we were talking about Slaughter. Her name is Slaughter. She said that Carrie, you said that your driving instructor, his name was Blinkhorn. That's great, Blinkhorn. I like it. And I'm going to talk about a dentist now, and my dentist when I was growing up, his name was Dr. Del Tufo. Yeah, God, I didn't like that guy. I haven't, not fond of dental experiences. All right, anyway, this dentist was found guilty of damaging patients' teeth to boost profits. And this is a really interesting situation in that when people go to a dentist, the assumption is the dentist is trying to improve your dental health, right? And that you're safe in his chair. Is that real? What is it with dentists? Oh my God, look at this. Oh, wait a minute, where is it? Okay, Lisa said, my dad's dentist is named Dr. Toothaker. I want to know, is it just accidental that people with toothy names turn into dentists? Or is it that, they got a toothy name and they're like, I just got to become a dentist. I just got to. I got to make use of my name. Is that it? Oh my God, that's funny. But, truly, when you put yourself in the chair, it's a miserable experience to begin with. Nobody says, oh, going to the dentist is such a delight. And it's not like your hair. You go to your hairstylist and you put yourself in the hairstylist's hands and you hope that when they do a dye job, they don't screw you. And believe me, one time I went in and I had to get screwed. It took like 6 months to even do the damage. It's still there in my hair. Damage was done. My hair was in weird colors and I was pissed. And and it took months to try to even get it to a normal shade. And that's why I sort of given up. But still, it's hair. It's not teeth. Teeth is something you can't, you're only replaced with fake teeth. And of course, there's a lot of pain involved. And for anybody to do anything to your teeth that makes it worse, that is like a massive betrayal of trust. So anyway, this guy raked in millions. So for God's sakes, hold on a second. Now they say I have to have registered to keep reading. I'm not going to, Guardian. Okay, so let me find this dude. Scott Charmoli. I'm going to find a free site because I'm not paying the Guardian. Okay, Scott Charmoli. I'm sure I'll show up someplace else. Scott, hold on a second. Scott Charmoli. It's funny because I thought I was at that site before, but I guess they decided. Okay, let's see. So anyway, here we go. Okay, the National Post is going to be nice to me. All right. He's 61 years old, handsome fellow too, convicted of 5 counts of healthcare fraud and 2 counts of making false statements about his patient's treatment. Scott Charmoli's patient's teeth were just fine, but fine wasn't making him enough money. So he was in Wisconsin, by the way, Jackson, Wisconsin. He drilled into and broke his patient's teeth in order to charge them for fixing the damage he caused. So he went in from pulling in. What the hell, what kind of lifestyle did he need to lead? So apparently when he was doing the right thing, he was only getting $1.4 million. What? So he went from pulling in $1.4 million and fixing 434 crowns in 2014 to raking in $2.5 million. So he doubled his profits and performing more than 1,000 crown procedures a year later. So, I guess, say over $1 million wasn't enough. He had to make over $2 million. All right. So he's convicted of 5 counts of healthcare fraud and 2 counts of making false statements. He's scheduled for sentencing. He'll face up to 10 years for each of the healthcare fraud counts and a maximum of 5 years on the other 2 convictions. I can't quite understand that. I'm going to get to that in a minute. Here's what I don't understand. He got charged with fraud, right? And making false statements. What about assault? Does anybody but me think that this is assault? If you have a tooth that's not harmed and somebody breaks it, that's assault. He should be charged with an assault, a violent assault of every one of these patients. He should be spending the rest of his life in prison, not getting a shitty 10 years, and then maybe that's all he gets. That's assault. And he should be charged with assault. So anyway, his lawyer says the only thing his client is guilty of, or her client is guilty of, was hard work. Yeah, sure. Okay. He certainly denies that his hard-earned wealth of many, many years of dental practice at the 40 to 60 hour per week range are the product of anything but his own diligence, hard work, and good business acumen. Charmoli had assets worth more than $6.8 million at the end of 2020, vacation properties in Wisconsin and Arizona. He billed more than $4.2 million for crowns between 2016 and 2019. Starting in 2015, Charmoli badgered his patients into getting crowns they didn't need. After intentionally damaging their teeth, he submitted pictures and x-rays to insurance companies as before photos to justify the treatment required to fix the damage he had just done. Wow. Just wow. One of those patients, Todd, said that he persuaded him to get 2 crowns during one sitting, even though his teeth seemed fine. It seemed excessive, but I didn't know any better. He was a professional. I just trusted him. Charmoli gave his patients more crowns, a procedure in which a dentist replaces a damaged or missing part of a tooth with a tooth-shaped cap, than 95% of Wisconsin dentists from 2016 to 2017. And pointing this out as far as criminal behavior goes in certain fields, there's a thing called a second opinion and a third opinion. Get those. Absolutely get those. Don't let anybody mess with your teeth. Get those. My daughter, I took her to a dentist. She had, what happened? I can't remember now. I think she had to get teeth pulled. There was some reason for it. It was broke. I think it really did break. And she was like, maybe 7 or 8 or something like that. Went to the first dentist, and he's like, okay, she's going to have to get a spacer and all this kind of stuff done. And he quoted me the price, and it was very, very high. And I was like, poor, I didn't have dental insurance. I didn't have that kind of money. And I took her to another dentist. And I said, can you look at me and see what we should do? And she goes, do nothing. And of course, everything turned out fine. So what was that first dentist telling me? So a lot of times I found that, when there's money involved, they'll go for whatever the most expensive option is that makes money. And as far as doctors go and dentists go, house people, auto mechanics. I'm sorry, I'm not saying the majority of these people are good people, but in those groups, there's always somebody who will find a way to encourage you to spend way more than you need to spend on whatever it is you need to spend it on. So always get a second and third opinion, and it's amazing. Sometimes it can be, it's literally, you didn't have to do it at all, or it would only cost you 1/10 of whatever the first person claimed. So never just believe somebody and go ahead with it. It's just, unless it's some kind of massive emergency, you got time to go check it out. And with dentists, you can often go to the ones that they give you the free x-rays in order to hornswoggle you into something. But if you go to 2 different free x-ray people, they'll give you 2 different complete pieces of information about crowns and things like that. And then, of course, if you live anywhere near the southern border, you just run into Mexico and get it done for way cheaper. way cheaper. So Martin says, a dentist quoted me 2,000 pounds worth of work. I took the plan to another dentist and she ripped it up. There you go. Absolutely. It's really, really sad. Because, but we have to understand that we as human beings have to be proactive in protecting ourselves. The same thing is true with dating online and stuff. It's like, a guy says, why don't you send me a nude picture of yourself? Okay. Okay, that's your fault. There's no reason to do that. If a guy says, I want to meet you, and you don't even know his name, and you don't ask to see his driver's license, and you don't want to see a video of him to make sure he even exists and looks like he said his picture, and you weren't going to meet him in a public place, you're just being a fool. You're suckering into something you don't need to sucker into, because if it were true, if the person were decent, they wouldn't do these kind of things. And if a doctor or a dentist or anybody else is decent, they'll say, oh yeah, go get a second opinion. Please do that. If they get all snarly because you want a second opinion, don't you trust me? Their answer should be no. And now that you've asked me that, hell no. So, Carrie says, federal law could account for the fraud charges. Perhaps state prosecutors could charge the dentist with assault. The question is there anything to even cover it? It's a strange concept. It's one of these things where I don't know that they've got a proper label law to charge with, but I find that appalling. If somebody breaks part of your body without your permission, that's called assault, in my opinion. I don't understand that, But so, speaking of getting fooled by somebody, this is a kind of a cool story that came up. Where'd it go? Oh, come on! Don't do this to me. Hold on a second. Really? Oh, here we go. This is just a strange story I ran into. So this guy, speaking of the internet dating thing, the Florida man ends up dating a man whose photo was used in a global catfishing scheme. So this guy, oh, I wish I had a better picture. Where is that picture? Dude's hot. Okay, so anyway, this isn't a really great picture. Can you see him? There he is with a girl. It's not a good picture, sorry. But anyway, handsome dude. Anyway, so he's one of these guys whose photo was stolen and sent out to a lot of women. So what happened was, this woman named Nicole, she got this message, and this guy called himself Marcus, a marine engineer. And they always pick out such great, oh, I'm a marine engineer. Not like, I'm a, I don't know, I stock shelves at the grocery store. No, a marine engineer, whose profile and post included a short summary of his personality. I'm not for everyone, but I'm okay with that. So she thought, okay, sounds good. Hayden, a single mother of two. Be careful when you're a single mother of two who you date, especially when going on the internet. Told News 6, the messages he sent were casual before flying into romantic overdrive just days later. Now, one of the things I always tell people is that what these creeps do in the chat rooms and stuff, sex predators don't have any patience. They don't waste their time. If they're not going to wait to see if you like them. They're going to go quick. So what they do is they have all these chat boxes open. They might have like 9 across the screen. All these different women at the same time. And then they start chatting with all of them. They're at different stages, and then they go into this romantic overdrive or sex stuff like do you like to have sex with blah blah blah. And if the woman freaks out, he just dumps her and he goes on to a new woman because he's got 8 more there already, and he just pulls another one in. And then he goes romantic, and they fall for it. So he's just looking for one of the boxes to go for it. And as soon as somebody is foolish enough to go, and these women always think, I'm the only one he's talking to. No, you're not. No, you're not. He's talking to dozens at the same time. So anyway, all of a sudden, it was starting to become heavy, she recalled. I love you. I want to marry you. I immediately knew something was wrong. Thank God this woman had brains. So Marcus wanted to come home to Florida and meet her family for Thanksgiving, and that's when she blocked him. Good for her. But before she had ended the relationship, big problem here, she sent him a photo of herself at the beach. See, don't send photos of yourself to people you don't even know their real damn name. So she did make a mistake. The swimsuit picture was then altered into a version that made it appear as if she was posing nude. Okay, that's what she claims. Don't know if it's true. Anyway, Marcus then used the photo to blackmail her, demanding $6,500 so he would send the photograph to her family. They found me about a month later on my WhatsApp account, and he started threatening me, said they were going to find me and my kids. She never paid them, and to this day, her photograph has never emerged. She got lucky. A short time later, though, so anyway, this guy had been bilking a lot of women. A short time later, the photograph of the man used by the imposter showed up on her Instagram account as a possible dating match. Ironically, it was the same face, but a different name. Now, she was thinking, oh, well, this guy just keeps changing his name, But this time it's Alex the officer, a.k.a. Alessandro Cinquini, a veteran officer with the Carnival Cruise Line. Again, a great profession. She's thinking, yeah, right. In an unlikely twist of fate, Hayden started messaging, FaceTiming, and then dating him. So I don't know if she doesn't say that she started out by just curious whether this was the same crooked guy. She must have been suspicious, but this time at least she found out this was actually the real guy. And so she started dating the 27-year-old Italian now living in Miami. They've been dating since January and have decided to go public to warn women that his photograph is being used by hundreds of imposters every day. So there's not just one dude, there's hundreds of them have used his face because dude's good looking. The main goal for the imposters is to make money. In this case, my picture is used to trick you to create fake stories. You have to be careful. Cinquini has received messages from women everywhere from the U.S. to Peru, many telling him his photograph is linked to names including Thomas Riley, Alex, and of course, Marcus. In one case, Dawn, mayor of the U.S., sent a text to Cinquini to tell him her mother lost almost $40,000 to a man who called himself Thomas Riley but used Cinquini's photograph. Her mother. Okay, so mommy, this dude's in his 20s. I'm guessing you're like 50. You sent him $40,000. You got. I'm sorry. You can't. You're victimizing yourself with stupidity. So what can I say? Honestly, the amount of accounts reported to me I cannot quantify, Cinquini said. Nicole is the first person I was able to meet that was targeted by the catfish imposter. Anyways, this woman lucked out, So her nude photograph didn't make it out into the world, and she got a really hot dude. So hey, well, she's lucky. But but this is what's going on, because these pictures are available everywhere on the internet. And all you have to do is look around and find a good-looking one, and then use it on a profile, and make a fake name. And the problem is, it's one thing to have a short conversation with somebody, but if you're actually then going to say, I want to get to possibly meet you, to know who you are, to maybe have a relationship, get married, whatever, that point you stop and you say, look, get on a video with me, and I want to see your driver's license. And I want, and right then you're going to get rid of them. If they're fake, they're not going to do it. I mean, you got a dude sitting there. He's 700 pounds. He's got no hair. He's 55 years old, and he's using a picture of a 25-year-old hot dude. He's not going to get on video. He's not going to do it, and he's not going to show you his license either, because that would be evidence. And so, it's the simplest things. And then if they say, again, you don't trust me, the answer is hell no. Especially since you had to ask me that. Go away. Go away. It's just phenomenal. It's just phenomenal. Use brains, folks. Use brains. All right, so I want to bring out this one more. This was a creepy one. I just saw this one. A mother lets a 3-year-old girl die of starvation while visiting her boyfriend. We want to talk about neglect. Look at this cute little baby. Look at the cute little baby. So she just left her baby in an apartment in Japan, and went on her date, went out of town, and left the child behind a locked door, claimed there was some food and water for it. So she's 24 years old. She left her alone for 8 days while she went to visit a boyfriend. And then when she got back, she said her daughter wasn't breathing properly. Well, yeah, she's dead. So she said, I didn't anticipate that she'd die and felt it would be fine to leave her alone in their home. The mother stated to authorities, this is her mother, that Noah, that's the mother of the child, was ill, and that she lacked the financial means to pay for her daughter's treatment. Okay, so you couldn't afford your daughter's treatment, but you could afford to leave her there unattended to go see your boyfriend in another town. Sure. Okay. She died of extreme dehydration and starvation. So she also had a thymus atrophy, where thymus shrinks in size, commonly detected in children who've been abused and neglected. And so basically she used to go to a daycare center. It's been a year since she was there. I guess she was just being left home because mother didn't want to pay for that. I guess mommy went to work and just left the child unattended all day. So Noah, that's the little girl, was trapped within a room with a sofa blocking the door, making it impossible for her to escape. I was concerned that she would be in danger as she got into the kitchen. Oh, of course. I turned on the air conditioner. I said she would be hot. Okay. And I left her with tea and food. My goal was to return as soon as possible, because visiting your boyfriend and having sex was far more important than taking care of your little baby. Yes, okay. Let's see. Oh, look at that. She came... According to police, she frequently neglected the baby by leaving her alone when she worked late or went out at evenings, among other things. Okay. After divorcing Noah's father in 2016, she lived alone with her daughter. She testified in court she was a victim of child abuse. Well, of course. She claimed that her parents stabbed her with a knife during her elementary school years and submerged her head in a bath. In other cases, they bound her in a trash bag and deprived her of food for days. According to her, her parents were later arrested on accusations of child mistreatment. So then the court decided she had 3 character traits: distrust of others, an unwillingness to express her genuine sentiments to others, and an overwhelming desire to live up to the expectation of others. I'm sorry, I believe in good psychology and good psychologists and good psychiatrists. But psychologists and psychiatrists keep saying this kind of garbage. The profession is embarrassing itself. The woman's a psychopath. She cared nothing about her child. She was abusive and sadistic to her child. She just wanted to do what she wanted to. That's high-level narcissism. It wasn't because she distrusted others. Oh, she left her child at home alone because she distrusted others, so she left her child for a freaking week in a house, locked in a room to starve to death? Yeah, because she distrusted others. Garbage. What she didn't want the others to see was what she was doing to her daughter. According to the court, these characteristics were at play in a confusing manner. They're not confusing. The woman's a psychopath. When she made the decision to abandon her kid in order to spend more time with her lover. However, the court noted that it was ultimately her decision to abandon the child, you think, as she had done in the past. Let's see. One of the explanations for her actions, this is coming from a clinical psychology professor, somebody I want to punch in the face, that she did not receive counseling early enough to address her own trauma as a result of child abuse. As a result, she hungered for affection after being placed in child welfare institution following the maltreatment of her parents. The court said, note, the life history must be taken into consideration. But there's a limit. Oh, the court's better. Limit to how much can be considered. Okay, so yeah, okay, Mr. Psychologist. Maybe it's true that she has some issues in earlier life, even which don't appear to have been proven too well. But still, does that give you the right to then abuse a baby? I don't think so. She was sentenced to 8 years in jail. That's what she got for murder. Sadistic murder of a child. 8 years. She should be in life for prison for life, but she's not. Yes, that is true, and like Casey Anthony. Yes, and now Casey Anthony. Oh, was her childhood totally traumatic? Was she dumped into institutions? Was she put in bags and brutalized and stabbed? No. Casey Anthony apparently had a pretty good life, and she had someone to take care of her child, and still wanted to kill her off. Yeah. That one was an interesting one. Okay, so what do we got? Okay, so I think I'm only going to do one more thing here, and this is it. I just wanted to point this out in case if you have any questions, you can ask them. But the last thing I had come up with was this concept of when I did the show on BTK, Dennis Rader, and one of the comments I made was the big, when Dennis Rader was arrested, and everybody's like, oh yeah, we did this great job, and Wichita police are slapping the backs of the FBI, and then there's the KBI, the Kansas Bureau of Investigation. Everybody's like, oh yeah, did so good, and I'm sitting there thinking, 31 years didn't do so good. I'm not saying you didn't work hard. I'm just simply saying 31 years is not a sign of success. Let's say, for example, I hire somebody to build me a house. I want to raise my family in this house. I'm pregnant, I've gotten married, and it's we've been married 3 years, and now I'm pregnant. We're going to have our first baby, and I hire you to build me this beautiful house, and it takes you 31 freaking years to build the house. I'm not paying you. I'm suing you because 31 years my kids are now in college and they're married and I have grandchildren. Not successful. Not success. So we see this over and over again. The Golden State Killer. How many years was that? Man, I think that was, that dude, by the time they caught up with him, the guy was digging his own damn grave. Green River Killer, my goodness, he was out there for a few decades. We're talking many, many decades, often with serial killers before they're caught. So I got this list. I got it off Wikipedia, and it's an A through Z list, so I'm not going to go through all of them, but just when you start looking at things, there's people here I've never even heard of. Tony Abels, years active. This is what they got in the next column. Years active. 1970 to 1990. I can do my math. 20 years he was active. Proven victims, 4. Possible victims, 4 other ones. Finally caught. Took him 20 years. All right, how about this one? Let's see. Howard Allen. He preyed on the elderly. 1974 through 1987. There's 13 years there. How about Ronald Ulrich? Murdered people. Oh, these are robberies. I'm going to let that one go, but it took them 20 years to get him to. Okay, let's see. All right, I'm trying to find a regular serial killer person coming along down here. Let me just. I'm still in the A's. I mean, okay, let's see. Let me just find a few more. Oh, now I'm in the B's. Okay, I'm in the B's. Let's see. Oh, look at this one. This guy killed 3 women he was romantically involved with in Honolulu, Hawaii. They started in 1959 and got caught in 1995. Yeah. And they caught him for 3, but I think he did 3 more, so that's 6. 59, 69, 79, 89. 36 years? 36 years. Wow, I mean, when you just look at the statistics, it's not good. Here's a guy, Beardsley, 1969 through 1981. He got caught for 3 women. Thought he killed 3 more. So if you go through, I'm going to look for one. Look at this one. Jake Bird. These are people I've never heard of. And the hen's taken. Bye, Ann. See you next time. Good night. It's late for some people. Jake Bird was convicted for 2 and executed. He's suspected of 46 murders. He confessed to 44 others. He was busy from 1930 to 1947. That's 17 years. This just goes on. I mean, this goes on and on and on. And what you see is sometimes you'll see that, okay, they got caught within a few years, but a good portion of the time they didn't get caught for 10, 20, 30 years. And now I'm not even talking about the ones who didn't get caught. Now, mind you, like Long Island serial killer, they haven't identified him. I think it might be Bitroff, but they haven't identified him. We have the Freeway Phantom in D.C. killed, I think, about 7 girls in the D.C. area, young girls, high school girls and younger. I think that's enough. I'm going to do that show one day on the Freeway Phantom. Never been solved. And so you have all these cases where no one's ever been caught. And so if our methodologies were working, if the FBI profiling and the VICAP program were working so well, why are they not getting caught? Why is it taking 30 years? And when you get a lucky DNA hit, why are they not getting caught at all? And how are they getting caught? Are they getting caught by luck? Or are they getting caught by, like BTK, Dennis Rader issue? He got caught, Dennis Rader. You have to go watch the whole thing to find out what I think of the possibilities, not the original BTK. But Dennis Rader was a serial killer, and he got stupid. He started playing games with the police, which is rare, but he did it, and he screwed up. That's how they caught him, not through all their techniques. None of their techniques worked. All their profiles, they had special setup, they had special teams set up to catch. They never got anywhere. So something's wrong with methodology. So, if you fail and you fail over and over and over again, as they say, you should figure out you don't want to keep doing that. So my whole point has been for many years that the serial homicide methodology, the investigative methodology doesn't work. It's not successful, and we need to fix it. We need to find out why it's not successful, find out the things that work, and do the things that work, and stop playing this game of, we look really cool, we got these great, these task forces, and we come in, we're going to catch this guy, and then we just hope the media forgets about it, and that doesn't point out that we didn't catch the person. We got Delphi. It's been 5 years. Nobody has a clue who killed the 2 girls. I'm sure the police don't, even though they make claims that they do, but it's been 5 years. So, there's something wrong with the methodology, and we need to fix it. Instead of being egotistical about it, let's just get back to the drawing board and saying, hey, some of these things are useful, but not all of them work, and let's find out what really, really works. All right, so that was my last thought of the night. So, let's see. So coming up on Friday, I'm going to be doing the Burari family. murders, or not murders, the mass death of the Barari family. 11 people dead in one house in New Delhi, India. And the question is, what happened to these people? It's a very freaky story. Netflix did a very good show on it, by the way. It's called House of Secrets. I actually recommend that one. There was and the whole question is the motive. Was it a mass suicide? Or was it something else? And so it goes through all the different issues. And I'm going to be talking about what my theory is on the most likely thing that happened to this family. Because they were a very normal, apparently successful family. Nobody had a clue that anything was wrong. So originally it looked like a mass, some kind of mass murder. Maybe somebody came in and killed them all. But it was so strange because they were all hung. and it's a very freaky thing. So House of Secrets is a good show on it. I like it very much. And somebody asked me, because of the House of Secrets, did I see the Netflix show The Motive, which is about a boy who killed his family. It's absolute that he killed his family. And the question is, what was his motive? And it's a 3-part series, and don't watch it because I'm telling you, you'll never find out what the motive is because it's the most boring 3-part series you'll ever see. It starts out really good. Just the first part where you see what happened, and then they take the kid away. Quit right there because you're going to get nothing further out of that. Oh, except for the fact that I did want to point that out. Okay, hold on a second. Let me find this because I couldn't believe what I heard about this motive movie, Netflix. What happened to the guy. Okay, so it's a kid. Where is he now? All right, where is he now? They never tell his name, which really bugs me, because he's a murderer. He killed his mother, his father, and how many people did he kill? And the 2 daughters, his 2 sisters. He killed his mother and his father and his 2 sisters, shot them all down. 14-year-old boy. Very, a very good student and all that. Just got up and shot them all down. And he claims that some green monster made him do it. They never gave up his name. All right? So what is he doing now? Where he should be, which should be in prison for the rest of his life. Apparently that's not what happened. There's reports that he went on to have a family and works in finance, but was fired after details of his past surfaced again with a documentary. Just what the heck? I mean, I can't even fathom how you can murder your entire family at 14 and then go on and have yourself a normal life after that. And he's a very cold-blooded psychopath. You can see it, and that's the one thing the movie does show. He just shows absolutely zero emotion. Makes a stupid claim, which no one believes, including his own lawyer. But he doesn't give any explanation for why he killed them all. He doesn't seem to care that they're dead. They take him to the grave site to try to get reactions off of him, and he just doesn't care. So that's a scary kid. But yet he's managed to go on. And who the heck would marry the guy? Poor children. Apparently he's had kids. Just hard to believe. Anyway, I just thought of that it was so strange. So I'm going to do the Barari family on Friday night. It's very just fascinating case. Very sad but fascinating. And then I'm going to do on Sunday I'm going to do the Lake Oconee, maybe pronounced that right, Coney murders of this elderly couple, the Germans, and it's never been solved. And I rarely do something that absolutely, it's almost like, do you have anything? Can you analyze this case and figure out what happened? And yeah, she did. She had to know who he was when she married him. Well, maybe she didn't. I wonder if they changed his name. And can you imagine if you found that out after you married him? There's no reason why his name shouldn't be public. When you commit a mass homicide, you shouldn't be hiding the name because the child's a juvenile at the time. I'm sorry, I don't go with that. Maybe if you stole a few things when you were 12, okay, but murdering your whole family, I think your name should be known. I don't think it should be out in public ever again, but okay. So anyway, the Germans, that has been unsolved for, I think it's been 5 years now. They really haven't got a clue on that case. And so I'm going to analyze this case. I have a theory. which is the best theory I can come up with under the circumstances, being outside the case and hearing what little I've heard. So I'm going to give a theory, and I'm not, it's one of these risky things where, I could be completely dead wrong. But I'm going to do it anyway and then I'm going to, have you guys who are there live seeing if you have some alternate theories that make any sense. Because it's a very, very unusual case. And so that's going to be a fascinating one. So anyway, the Bawari family on Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern and 3 p.m. on Sunday for the German murders in, was it Georgia? I think Georgia. Lake Oconee, I think is the name of it. I don't have my notes, so I've been making up names. So anyway, I hope to see you guys then. Wait, are you in Georgia? Oh, okay. You need to solve the case for us here in Georgia. I don't know that I can do that, but I do have the best theory that I can come up with about this case. And it's still driving me nuts, this case, because I don't know, were you the one who brought it up? But can you look at this case, the Lake Oconee case? And I'm like, okay. And I started looking at this case, and I'm like, why do I know the case? Why do I know this case? And I remember, and pictures started coming into my head of the lake and the house and the people, and I'm like, what's happening here? It's like I'm like having hallucinations about this case, and I can't figure it out. I looked through all my notes. Every note I've looked online to see if I did a show on it, because I swear to God I remember being in front of a television camera talking about this case, and I can't find any notes anywhere about me doing that case. So, but I have no idea. Normally I don't do that much in-depth analysis unless I was involved in the case in one way or the other. But that's going to drive me nuts, because I have absolutely no idea why I know that case. But since I do know that case and I've looked at it before, I'm going to do it again. Oh, you're welcome, Lisa. Thank you very much. Bye, and Annie. You have a great evening. It's a little earlier for you out there. Thank you, Carrie. Every week it's fun to do, because I just, it's amazing how much news there is every week, and, this crazy stuff out there. Kind of scary world we're living in, with dog killers and other strange dentists who are breaking your teeth. That sucks. So anyway, hopefully I'll see you on Friday, and that the internet continues like it did tonight. We have an internet that did not crash and burn, so I'm absolutely thrilled. Let's keep fingers crossed on that, because it's really a pain in the butt. So anyway, see you soon.